What did your friend do that accidentally turned you on? One of a bunch of fairly new friends, we all went to a local campground in the spring. She was a petite redhead, and was wearing a dark green big puffy sweater, and that is a killer combination to start anyway. Complained it was too hot when the sun came out, and did that take it off arc your back with arms crossed in front move that showed her white t-shirt and a little of what was underneath, then tossed her hair to put it back in place. I had to go splash cold water on my face. Jesus, I can still picture it decades later. We did hook up a few weeks later, but we weren't really compatible. Still have this fond memory though. She worried about me and hugged me when I was clearly very down, especially hit very hard BC. I don't get very many hugs ever. I am happy to say that we are now dating. Smile. Petted my hair. At a party someone was going around taking pics. They came up to her and I chatting. She turned around, bent over to press against my junk and posed like I was doing her from behind, then went back to chatting without skipping a beat. I don't think I heard anything she said after that for the next 5 minutes. I was trying to hide my face with my hair, and he pushed my hair behind my ear. After he did that, he gave me the look and smiled. Right after that, I turned to my other friend and I was blushing so hard. Was clocking out at work, and my coworker, friend grabbed my ponytail and tugged. Yeah, I may have made an inappropriate noise, 'cause it's kinda my thing. I was waiting for him to finish what he was working on to go to our planned lunch break together. Looked across the room to see what his status was right as he stood up and stretched, and his sweatshirt lifted up and I could see every cut and curve of his lower abdomen. Holy shit. I was like a deer in headlights. The lady boner was instant. He wasn't cut or in some sort of particularly good shape, but something about just seeing him like that struck a nerve. And he saw me looking, and saw my eyes wide, and there's no way he couldn't read it all over my face. Never mentioned it, but hard to get that image out of my head. He gawked at my boobs now and again, though, so I figure we're even. Edit, sorry to burst your thirst bubble, Reddit, but this was many moons ago. Happily married these days. Nothing ever did happen between us, we really were just friends. I'm sure there was some mutual attraction, and we did go out a few times, but he wasn't into it. I'm 6'1" and my tiny 5'5" king friend, very buff, did gymnastics, picked me up and threw me over his shoulder while we were goofing around. I was like, oh. I had a close friend in college who I had a massive crush on. We worked on a project together which required multiple all-nighters. Something about her at 4 a.m. after a full day at the computer lab really lit up some primal urges. I was telling him about my bad day at work, and right before I was about to cry, he straight up started dancing. Not like serious dancing, like squiggly worm dancing. Made me laugh. Married him a few years later. At work one day using the POS system, and my coworker and best friend came over to grab condiments for a table, which was directly beneath the POS. He put his hand on my side/small of my back and gently moved me over so he could get to the condiments, all the while striking up an absurdly normal conversation. Literally gave me such intense butterflies and made my heart start pounding, in more than one place IYKYK, and I forgot how to speak. I definitely couldn't get out of my head how gentle and firm his hands were after that, smiley face. Anywho, we started dating and have been together a little over a year now, and that little shit still gives me butterflies. He told me to take my tits out for him. It was a joke, but at first I thought he was serious, and he got me a bit hot, lol. We were on campus and she had her bike with her. We were going to walk to my lab, but she said let's tandem bike there instead. The bike has one seat, so she told me to pedal and she would sit between the seat and the handlebars. Accidentally backed into you know what as we were biking a few times. In lucky I had jeans on that day. She ran her fingers through my hair. She said my hair looked really soft and played with my hair. At a Halloween party, I was dressed as a king, found my friend there dressed as a cowboy. At some point, we were all sitting down with drinks and vibing when he was dared to put on his best Red Dead character impersonation. I had come back from the restroom and was standing nearby with a fresh beer. He did that flaunty cowboy walk towards me, slightly lifted his rancher hat, and in the grittiest country accent, said, "Howdy, partner." I was instantly subjugated. I was outside the bar having a smoke. She walked up and grabbed my cigarette with one hand and wrapped an arm around me. And said, "You need to stop being alone so much." My friend once laid down on my bed. She stretched her arms upwards, ruffled her hair, then randomly gave me the biggest smile out of boredom. It was hot because stretching her arms made her chest pop and jiggle a bit. But wholesome at the same time. She just looked so comfortable in my bed. Speak in his native tongue to his parents on the phone while I sat next to him like a stupid. A co-worker I was only on friendly terms with but not necessarily friends with brought me coffee. While she was handing it to me, she said, "I let it cool a bit so you can drink it right away. I had some dental work earlier in the week and hot/cold stuff was still painful." As I was reaching for it, another colleague bumped her with a cart. The coffee meant for me went straight onto my lap as hers she was holding in her other hand hit the floor. She rushed to our linen cart to grab some towels, threw one on the floor, and then proceeded to use one to wipe my lap while kneeling on the floor. I protested and tried to take the towel away, but she stammered out, "I messed up and have to make it right." Several other co-workers started teasing both of us. She froze mid-scrub as it dawned on her what it looked like she was doing. Thank God she left the towel where it was and ran off in embarrassment. It was the most action I'd had in several years. We still joke about it now many years later when we bring each other coffee at home. My clumsy girl is still so very thoughtful, but still so damn clumsy. Finished fixing her clogged sink. She looked at me with a smile and said, "Good boy," like how you would say it to a child. Weird but kind of turned me on. Placed her foot in my hand while we were standing around so she could show off her pedicure to the group. Girl, don't what she doing to me. She was worried about me when I was sick. 72 here. 7 years ago, I accompanied my mom, 91 then, to church. She had a friend my age who would lean over me to hug mom and, invariably, stick a nice soft tit into my cheek. She knew what she was doing, I knew what she was doing, she knew I knew what she was doing. It's a case of innocently acknowledging that we're still attractive to each other. At our age, we don't get much of that. I'm so grateful. By the way, if it were possible, I'd seek her company. I was at my friend's house one day and they have a dog. Suddenly his dog came bounding into the room and he started petting her and going on and on saying, "Good girl, good girl." I couldn't even handle it. I'm a good girl, angelic face. Asking if his butt looked big in a really tight pair of jeans he was wearing and bending over to emphasize it to me. His butt did indeed look big. She was looking after me after getting out of an abusive relationship and gave me a forehead kiss out of nowhere while I was being treated for something in hospital to calm me down. It was so sweet, but my tummy was full of butterflies and I wanted her to kiss me more, confused face. We ended up together though. Never loved anyone more. Women in this thread. He reached across the table while maintaining eye contact, tucked back loose strands of my hair, gently tickled my earlobe, and whispered, "I love you. Anyway, we're still friends." Men in this thread. She asked which side I dress on, then squeezed my junk through my jeans to get the correct size, and knitted me a wool cock cozy with her number stitched inside in case it ever needs repairs. I thought about asking her out, but I didn't think she was interested. Make a full course meal of my favorites. Apple pie with a shit ton of whipped cream, spicy pork ramen, Caesar salad, and spaghetti. Never have I ever wanted to wife anyone up as much as her in that moment. Edit, we're both straight women. Called me sweetheart and said it at a girl I had to tell him not to because I had a praise kink. Turns out he's a pleasure dom, and we've been dating for almost a year now, embarrassed smiley face. She stopped by before her shift one morning since I live literally 2 minutes from her work. She just face planted onto my bed and threw the blanket over herself, then said she just wanted to be lazy. My penis somehow ended up inside her 5 minutes later, eyes